Hi, this is Jonathan. Today I was thinking of featuring this piece of gear that I have with me for a couple of years. Just to tell you a little bit of the backstory behind it. I knew a guy that goes by the name of Rex Go. And in case you do not know him, he used to be the guitarist in Air Supply. You remember Air Supply? Yeah, the Chinese guy. He's actually Singaporean. Who actually migrated down to Australia, and he's one of my favorite guitarists. When I was just starting out playing guitar, and I always had an admiration for him. And as things have it, and I was so blessed to be able to play a gig with him in the early 2000s. Yeah, in the early 2000s, or maybe the late 1990s, 98 or 99. And I worked with Rex for a couple of times after that, a couple more times. But the first time I was in a gig with him, and I was playing second guitar, and he had this beautiful sound that's coming out of his amp. He was using a JCM 800, but it's this distortion unit that he was using that caught my ear. And his sound was so creamy, and I just it just took my breath away. So I told him, I said, look, if ever you go back to Sydney, that's where he stays, and if you find a unit, can you just get it for me, and I'll pay you, So the next time I saw him, he actually came back with a unit, and I was so grateful to him for that. And subsequently, I worked with him a couple more times. He's the sweetest guy, humble and nice, and totally an awesome musician. So this video is dedicated to you, Rex, if you're watching this. Right, so this is the unit that I'm talking about. This is the Mesa Boogie V-Twin. It used to be kind of famous back in the days. It was in production, I guess, back in 1995 to the year 2005. It had two versions. So this is the later one, and Rex has the earlier version. I have no idea what's the difference, in sound, because I don't have the earlier versions to play with. And the best part of it is that you can have like switchable. You can have three modes. You can have the clean, you have the slightly distorted, which is called the blues mode, and of course the fully blown distortion for the solo. And at the back there is a adjustment switch for you to adjust the volume differences or the gain differences between each mode, and that is like really cool, for a piece of gear that was back in the 90s. I've seen this on sale in eBay, or rather in reverb.com, and I think it goes for like $250 to $280 or to $320 US used. And I guess the condition varies from unit, and most of these units can be found in Japan, in some of the music stores in Japan. So if you are interested in old school gear, there's a place that you can actually do some of your shopping, right? And I didn't use this a whole lot. I had it in my rack mount, when I go on tours back in the early 2000s. And I was lugging this 40 kg rack system as my go-to gear. I had a couple of stuff in that rack, and one of it is the V-Twin, and this is my go-to solo sound. The only gripe about this unit is that it's pretty noisy because of the tube, and what depending on your guitar that you're using. So I managed to bypass this noise relatively well by using a noise gate in some cases, and in most cases I was using a noiseless pickup, meaning an active pickup, the EMGs, and that cut down the noise significantly. So I had actually no problem in using this as my one of my main piece of equipment, and I use it extensively for recording too. Back in the days, because I was trying out different gears, and that was before the Line 6 came out with the first version of the pod. So this has the capability of direct recording to your desk if you choose to. Yeah. I'm actually using a AKG 414 microphone, just a simple setup, just hung over the amp on, just kind of slightly touching the speaker grill. Yeah, not much though, and a bit off-centered. And this is my VC15, Langley VC15. It's a tube amp. It's relatively small. I bought this second-hand, and it's pretty old. The controls are a bit wonky, a bit dirty in a way. I think I have to really clean it up, but it works, in this case. So here's a close-up of the V-Twin. Like any amp section, you have the gain, the bass, the mid and treble, and of course the presence, and the master volume. Inside this grill, there are two 12AX7 tubes. Alright, so you have from the right, you have the instrument input. That's where your guitar jack goes in. Then you have the external bypass. This will probably go to your tuner if you are using a tuner. And then the external select, I don't know what is this for. You have the power input, and then you have the guitar amp. This is where I hooked up to my Langley, and then to a power amp if you have a power amp. And this is my favorite part. This is to either the mixer or to the headphone. Back in the days, when we choose not to record with an amp, I would plug this directly into the desk, the mixing desk, the mixer, and to tape. And I can get pretty good sound. I mean, we used to have like good EQs back then and good compressors and preamps. So with the distortion mode kicked in, I can get a usable sound for solos or for distortion. And it works. It has that Mesa Boogie sound, that thick, creamy sound that it's famous for. And this thing is like built like a tank. It's so heavy. You can probably hurt someone if you drop this on someone's head. Vintage stuff is not all bad, you know. I mean, considering the fact that we are living in the digital age right now, and most of the stuff that I'm using is all digital, like, you know, the Line 6 Helix and stuff. But sometimes the old school stuff just has its own flavor. In this case, the Mesa Boogie V-Twin, I would consider it as one of the vintage delicacy that, you know, that I was blessed, you know, to try out. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do, give me 2 thumbs up, and remember to ring the bell so that you'll be notified of every new videos that I come out with. So until the next time, you guys take care. Ciao.